Hi, Kevin Henry with Dental Economics here today just outside of Austin, Texas with good friends Dave Fazio, Pat Carter with the PDG Fazio group. And we're here today to talk a little bit about the green effect as far as dental offices go. Dave from the architectural standpoint and Pat from the interior design. Dave, tell me a little bit, are you seeing people starting to go toward the green effect whenever it comes to dental offices?
What's happening is our industry is really emphasizing green design and LED certification as a way of monitoring how green our designs are. And our clients are starting to be a lot more interested in it because it's the right thing to do, and it's a smart investment in the way to invest in a project.
You and I've talked about, too, the benefit to them long-term in a building, for instance, where they have taken energy into consideration. So the way that you're designing the buildings now, the building shells and the interior spaces, really is related to saving energy for the dentists, which obviously is a responsible.
It's about orienting the building correctly and taking advantage of site conditions in a way that makes sense rather than fighting what's there. It's taking advantage of existing conditions, which is a lot of the way we used to build back in the old days, before electricity and before abundant energy. And now with energy costs, it just is a smart way of spending your money.
It really is, yeah.
And you and I even talked a little bit before we started filming about the sticker shock, maybe, that people go, well, building green costs more. So do you ever talk about the ROI of
Sure. I mean, the initial costs of, especially now because this is an emerging industry, it is a lot more expensive, I mean, that's relative. It is more expensive to be green. And to each degree of greenness, and you can be the extreme degree of trying to achieve a platinum certification, or you can just be conscious of investing your time and energy appropriately. But yes, your initial costs typically are more expensive, but there is, like you said, a return on your investment that you look at as you invest in various products and various design ideas.
Good. Speaking of design ideas, from the interior design standpoint, what are you finding as far as green goes? Are people understanding green? Are there options out there for green? Are there more options now than there were?
There definitely are more options, and I like the way you asked the question because it is real confusing. What is green? And there are limits, like Dave said. There's stages of greenness that you can go. And really for the interior designer, we rely on the finishes that are manufactured out there. And they're either available or they're not available. They're either very expensive or they're becoming less expensive. And we're really heading in the direction of less expensive now. The manufacturers are stepping in. The good question, or the big question as far as finishes, is what makes it green. It's either the material it's made out of, it's how it's manufactured, or it's if it's recycled. If there's some effort made in the processing of the product that involves recycling, so a return of material back into either their product or another product by another manufacturer. And that is what's being set up right now. So some of these things are in place with manufacturers. Some are just starting these programs, so they're declaring themselves green, but the activity of actually recycling, for instance, carpet material back to their current product maybe 10% right now, but eventually they'll get to a point where the materials are going to actually cycle back into their products. So what's amazing here is, in fact, that I just happen to have some samples here on this desk.
Unbelievable.
Yes, it's just unbelievable. But really, for the dental office, that's the category of how you need to look at it. You're still a dental office that has to have performance, durability, and you're looking long term. How is this material going to hold up and perform? And so I'm showing different things. In carpet materials, we're still recommending carpet in most locations of the office. There's certainly, as we go into the operatories, there are vinyl products are available, but the green product of linoleum is available now, which makes it is green because it is made of linseed oil, which is a natural product.
Okay.
Recycled wood products are within this material, that kind of thing. And so,
now, Pat, one of the things we are seeing is that the manufacturers are trying to decentralize all of the materials being made in one location in America, because travel costs are a major component to the cycle of production and how it impacts the environment and costs. So they're trying to more decentralize and having different regions breaking the manufacturing facilities down.
But A lot of these products are becoming more readily available, certainly, and they're, as a result of the demand that's being asked of these are becoming more competitive in pricing. But there's some really unique things that people may not be aware of. For instance, wall coverings that are eco-friendly, either because they're perforated and the walls can breathe, or because they're recycled content and they still perform. They can't tear. There's a lot of great things out there. Low VOC paint, we've seen that. Even Home Depot has got that fresh air paint that they are now advertising, and we're doing that real typically in our offices. Bamboo flooring, cork flooring are the big wood floorings, or the more natural product floorings, but we don't recommend them in operatories right now because they still will show dents and scrapes, and there's maintenance associated with it that doesn't make it the best option in operatories, but certainly in staff areas, waiting areas, consultation rooms.
Do you find that if somebody walked into a dental office, would they know it was green just from the interior design, or do these things blend in with some of the non-green? I mean, is there a distinction?
That's an interesting question. I would think that if you're familiar with the materials associated with green, you might recognize that and see that.
The thing that you would probably find more obvious if we utilized a lot more daylighting as a source of light.
Okay.
That's another tool that we use to reduce energy costs and reduce the expense of light fixtures, etc. And the local government agencies are requiring us to meet certain energy budgets, so we're required to take advantage of natural daylighting as a source of light. So you will maybe not consciously understand that, but intuitively you'll see that the environment it feels different.
What's the one thing each of you might say to somebody out there who's thinking, well, maybe I want to go green in my dental office. Maybe it's already built. If they already have an office that they just want to make it green, what's the suggestion that you guys like?
My question would be, what is the motive? Is it a conscious motive of wanting to be more sensitive to the environment? Is it an aesthetic branding that you're wanting to advertise your company as a green company? I mean, what is the motive? What are you driving at? I don't know, Pat.
Yeah, because then that leads you to what would be the solutions to that. If it's a replacement of finishes and it needs to be replaced anyway, and I'm updating the office, I may as well go green. You bet. I think that's a relatively responsible way to go.
Exactly. If you're going to be doing something anyway, sure, let's be more sensitive to being more green.
Good. Guys, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it today.
Oh, you bet.
Hopefully it was helpful.